Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today I have on Donia, and she is here to tell us a story.
Hello, thank you for having me today. So I wanted to share a story about a girl named Dunya. I'm almost 35, and I've spent a lot of my life placing my validity externally and trying to fit into places. And I realized recently how tired I've been of trying to be loved and accepted. So I've been making positive changes in my life, spending more time with Chewy because he loves me unconditionally. But it's been rewarding, and I want to encourage people to find that self-love and find like your passion projects. That's how I started to find it. I heard something recently. It was basically along the lines of like, when you isolate yourself in the pursuit of learning about yourself, you have more to offer community. And I think that whether or not I realized it, I kind of got like lost in this hypnotic rhythm of life. And, I spent so much time practicing a certain sport that people only knew me for that sport. People would be like, oh, you're the yoga girl, you're the yoga teacher. And it's like, but I'm more than that. And I loved that part of my life, but I started to develop different habits, different movement practices, such as dance. That's how I met you. And when I got to do that, and when I got to learn about myself more, and the things I love and the things that make me happy, I learned the practice of like flowing and not forcing. Because whether or not I realized it, I was forcing myself into places that I didn't belong. And there was like this natural repulsion of me because I didn't fit in. Whether or not people were like kind is a different story, but naturally I could sense it. I could sense it just wasn't right. And so instead of trying harder, I did something different. I tried softer. And trying softer allowed me to find my niche, find the things that I love, and flow into the arms of people who naturally love me. There's a lot of people in my life that always have accepted me, have always accepted me. But I was trying so hard to put myself in places where I didn't fit in that I wasn't really giving the community base I already had the attention they deserve. Thank you. And so I started to develop myself by getting out of, the city, trying to be inspired by more vibrant scenes. And I found inspiration through that, especially music. I've always loved music, from like club or techno or rave to country. I love all types of music. Oh, jazz, obviously. There's this place in another country, in Detroit, called Motor City Wine, and they do this thing called Monday is the New Monday, and it was Labor Day. And I remember specifically watching Alan Denard, the trumpet player, playing while they were mashing it with techno and tunes and beats, and it was so trancy and hypnotic. And when I look further into it, I'm like, well, they inspired me, but they weren't the first ones to do that either. We all get inspiration, and we all get the opportunity when inspired to deliver something that we find beautiful in our own way and remix it in a way that we think is but is natural for us. So I saw this moment and I kept thinking, like, how cool would that be to do in Windsor? And so I have been working with Alan. We are now at 3 Crossfade events coming up on the 4th. All of them, I would say, have been successful. I personally don't define success by the number of people that come, but I think we've had great shows of audience from the first to the third, and I'm looking forward to the next one. We're switching it up a little bit, and we're including a drummer this time. But I would like to see more instruments being involved. I would love to see it turn into like a day-long event, or like an event that's like outdoors, like for the public. And so every step I took, like, I remember I was out one day at like one of the local watering holes. I was telling somebody about it. They were like, yeah, it sounds cool. And we were talking about it. And then I just kind of like reached out to Alan, because he's the main person that I know. And I was like, hey, what do you think about this? And he was like, I could do it for this much. And I'm like, yeah, buddy, I can't afford you. And then a little bit later, he comes back and he's like, listen, I like your idea and I'll do it. I'll just do it. And so I got another friend to come and DJ, and it was just so fulfilling to see these smiling faces and to see all the people like dancing and having such a good time, and at the end of the night everybody is so happy, and it's so cool to like watch how they are able to like sink and rise throughout. And it made every night that I spent in isolation by myself, it made every single night worth it. It made every single day I gave up doing something I wanted so I could promo or so I could make sure flyers were finished. It made it all worth it.
Can you explain what Crossfade is?
It has started with Alan Denard, the trumpet player, and a DJ. They come together and they just live and improvise play together. That was another thing that I saw at Motor City Wine, was like every second Friday of the month, they have a live jam band. So it's like these people who have not met before, they just come, hang out, and they make really cool music together. I've always loved to see musicians who have that ability to just like play, not off of a blueprint, to just play from their heart. And it's something like it comes down to frequency, right? Is like they're changing the energy into something magnetic and cool. So to answer your question, Crossfade, the intention and the vision is having a live musician and a live DJ, or maybe multiple live musicians and a DJ playing over each other. And
I know you said it, but they're developing the sound there live as they play together.
Yeah, they have not practiced. So Jamal Cody is going to be in the next one, and he does drums and he also plays over beats, but he like produces his own music. So it's exciting to see. Like right now we have like a jazz. The next one coming up is going to be a jazz drummer and a trumpet player drummer, and the DJ plays like acid house kind of disco vibes too. I think it's going to be really cool, but I would love to see like a pianist and a trance player. I would love to see like electric guitar or bass, and like, I don't know, something like sexy and industrial. The second one we did at Fog, one of the bartenders is in a band. His name's Ian. His band is Cons of Jupiter, and he's so talented, this guy. He just jumps in. There's a bunch of guitars there. I don't know if it was his. He just jumps in and starts ripping, and it's so good. It was so cool to watch. It's so magical when you see people like just belting in their own way. Like maybe they're not singing, but unleashing their skill. My friend, he was in a band. He's been in music his whole life. And I told him that I'm getting into guitar lessons. And he was like, one piece of advice is learn to follow the clicks before you like kind of make it your own. And what he means by that is like when you're doing covers and stuff, follow the beat that the song has and practice that beat before you make it your own. Because, you know, it's so important to have that skill, that theory, the music theory, to have that understanding of it before you can just unleash.
It's that thing where you have to know the rules before you can start breaking them.
Yes. Ooh, okay. I think we just found our new tagline.
You mentioned earlier that you, instead of trying harder, you got softer. And I know you said that involved music, but what exactly did it mean to you to become softer? What did you do? What did it feel like? What were the experiments?
Yeah, so it wasn't about just music. It was about like letting myself flow into the surrender of life, and just being intuitive with what I do and where I go, and not trying to like force myself into situations or to put myself somewhere that wasn't really feeling good just because I didn't want to be alone. So first off, it started with not seeking social environments out of loneliness, being there because A, I want to be there, and B, because there's a chair that's saved for me. That was really important. That was a really important lesson I had, was like waiting for the right groups, friend groups, and shedding the friend groups or the social environments that didn't feel good, especially when it comes to, you know, I'm almost 35, and when I was younger, I'd go out on a date and I'd give people a chance, and now like I'm busy. I got a full-time job. I got a bunch of like side hobbies. So saving my time and reserving my energy for myself and just being like, you know, it's great that I got invited that I actually don't want to go either. Like not making myself do things that I didn't want to do and not feeling like I'm making myself fit in somewhere either. That was a big part of it. I think softness comes from just being authentically yourself. And sometimes, and you've known me a little bit, I don't want to alarm you by saying this, sometimes I can be dramatic. But I like that about me. And I like that I have a big personality. I like that I'm loud sometimes. And I like that, things that are sad make me cry. I don't try and hold that in. And I used to. I used to hold it in to the point where I would choose to be angry instead of letting myself feel the sadness. And becoming softer started with embracing that sad girl and loving her and sitting with my like inner child and just telling her like, babe, I'm here. The adult is here. You can relax.
So you didn't like to be alone before?
I struggled with it. Yeah, I struggled with it. It was funny because growing up, I wasn't allowed to go out, immigrant parent. And then when I got a little bit older, I realized, oh, well, if I disobey the rules, the worst that happens is I get yelled at. So I started, going out. And I think I was just putting myself in certain environments because I was told not to, a little rebellious punk. But I moved out officially 6 years ago. I've been on my own. And I remember when I first moved out, I was like, oh, man, I actually kind of like just hanging out back here and being home. And I mean, I have moments where it's hard. I work from home, right? So during the day, like during a week, I could be home by myself for like 3 days in the wintertime, especially. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have my dog, but I was definitely putting myself in the wrong environments. Sometimes with people that weren't good for me mentally and with people who I felt like tolerated me maybe, but I could always sense that. I think I would put myself in the wrong environments of like people who tolerated me versus loving me. And then I started to choose myself and I started to go to things alone because I wanted to do them. And when I started to do that, I would naturally find people who liked the same things that I did. And we'd keep seeing each other and then a natural friendship would develop. And now instead of that feeling of I'm being tolerated, I have people where when they walk into a room and they see me, they will walk across the room to say hello. You had Scott to Signal. You had him on the show once, and he was somebody who taught me that. I remember I walked in to Walker Brewery, and I think he was with somebody, and I didn't notice him, but I was like on one side of the room, and he was on the other side of the room. And he walked all the way, probably like a 2-minute walk, just to be like, hey, like I'm here, and I'm happy to see you. And that was like a catalyst moment of like, man, there's people who will walk across a room for me. Maybe it's not good how good that made me feel, but I didn't have that a lot. And it changed my standards when it came to people. It was like, why would I force myself into situations with the wrong people when there's so many people who love me already? That's doing a disservice to myself and to them.
Yeah. Yeah. I had an instance kind of similarly recently where I was invited to something and I didn't even know we were like good friends. And that person said that like everyone in that room, like they specifically invited for a reason. And I was just like, wow, you like me that much?
Oh,
Like, I had no idea. I thought I was just like, somebody in the background because I tend to be quiet. So like that moment of recognition, I think is similar to maybe the moment that you had or just like, oh,
yeah.
like people like me. And like when they express it, it feels really good. I don't know.
It's not just like feeling liked, it's feeling like valued. It's feeling like respect. It's feeling like, damn, like this person, like, and it's not just like walking across the room for me. It's like if I go into a certain place and I see a group of people that, because I get hesitant. I've been socially conditioned by some people in my life to not try to fit in because they, when I would try, they would push me away even harder. Like they were already pushing me away. And then when I would try to, I guess I think, earn their love.
Wait, you mean you were conditioned by people to try and fit in?
No, I mean that if I would, like they were already sort of like tolerating me. And so I would try to be loved. I would try. And that was, that was not a good thing for me to do, but I'd try to be really nice by, bringing them food or giving them things. And it was like nothing was ever good enough. And it almost made me feel like they liked me less when I would try. Every time I would try, I would feel by them like almost as if they liked me less because I was trying.
Oh, okay. So then that made you not want to try.
Yeah. And then I remember with a different friend group, I walked into a restaurant, kind of like loungy place, and I said hello to a friend, and all the people that I would usually hang out with that I was like hesitant to go over and sit with, they're all looking at me. And then one of them came over and they're like, hey, we have a chair for you if you want to come sit with us. And I was just like, that felt really good. And just waiting for those moments, because I had to make space in my life to let better things come in. I feel like in the last few months, I've been in a place of shedding and transition, and it's been feeling really good.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing you asked me was, how do I practice being like a softer version of myself? My dog, I used to yell at him for barking. The dog's got to bark. And now I just say, thank you for protecting me. It makes my life easier. And I don't know, I think that if I was a dog and somebody was barking, or if I was a barking dog and then my owner was like yelling at me, I would think that they were barking with me. I don't know if he really understood that I was yelling at him.
Fair. Yeah.
But it wasn't good for my blood pressure, and it was stressing me out, and it wasn't helping the situation. So, I mean, I can't say I don't yell at him ever. That would be a lie. My neighbor would call me a liar. But just like changing the way I respond, because it was like so normal for me to be like, no, Joey, no. And he's 9. So I've been doing that for a long time, and that wasn't healthy for me. And it wasn't working for him. So approaching life differently and softly, noticing those moments where I felt like my nervous system was like, rah. It didn't need to be that high just because my dog was barking at a bird. I feel like finding those moments in life where you are feeling dysregulated and doing something different.
What are some of the other hobbies that you've picked up?
I love salsa bachata, but I stopped doing it. I want to get back into it, but I still do it at home. Another thing I do is I've been practicing chin-ups at home. I like to make crafts. I've always been into making crafts. So like I found this one cool thing where it's like you find a globe and then you get those like little mirror stickers and you turn it into a disco ball that's like on the stand. Just like home projects. Music. I love making music. I'm not going to say I'm good at it, but I like to do it. I've been practicing ukulele, and, I've had a lot of moments since I've started playing where I will, like, just moments in life where I'm feeling a little lost or confused or sad or mad at the world. And I just grab the ukulele and I play. And I've been probably playing the same 5 songs for a while now. But man, does it make me happy.
Do you journal?
I do journal, yeah. Sometimes I do write poetry. There's a poetry night, I think it's like once a month in Windsor. So I'm gonna go perform there for the next one. And then I love just all the poetry nights. I love music. I love ambient music. I like finding visual music. When it comes to journaling, sometimes I write things out, but sometimes I like just sing my feelings. Like I'll be in my car and I'll be like, oh, this client made me really mad. And that's really I'm a songwriter. I just like belt it out. Sometimes I grab my voice message app and I just like talk into it, because I think part of it is like unloading.
Yeah.
And then getting into that like flow.
Yeah. So when you're feeling angry, frustrated, mad, whatever, how does it look like for you to process that?
So I start with, did I sleep and did I eat? And making sure that I am moving my body. One thing that I developed, like, I think it'll be 10 years in July. I had a car accident that was pretty bad. And luckily I didn't break anything, but the impact left me with a chronic pain condition. And what I started to learn about that chronic pain condition, fibromyalgia, the word literally means like muscle pain. And so I started to learn more about like how to control it and how to reduce it. And what it all boiled down to is nervous system regulation. So asking myself like the questions, did I eat? Did I sleep? Did I move my body? What's the weather like? And so trying to work on the elements that I can work on. And then, because every feeling is valid, but some feelings for me sometimes are really amplified because of the pain. If I didn't learn how to control the pain by controlling my emotions and my nervous system, then it would hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was another part of wanting to be like a softer version of myself, because it was hurting me not to. It was hurting me to be like the tough girl, the angry girl. So it starts with food, sleep, making sure I'm taking the vitamins I need to, making sure I'm not spending too much time on my phone. And then if there was like an impact of like a friend situation or a dating situation or family situation, sitting with myself and trying to be hard and real and also compassionate and asking myself, like, what happened? Why am I feeling this way? What's deeper than that? Like, where does this come from? And a lot of the feelings that I have come from, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection. And you spend so much time in your life, like, overcorrecting your fears that you almost manifest them. So sitting with myself and asking myself, what's deeper here? And then learning how to sit with that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Because, those feelings of anger and sadness, as long as I'm not in danger, I can handle them. But at the time where I first started my emotional awareness journey, I didn't know how to sit with those feelings. So learning how to sit with the discomfort, because a lot of times the discomfort isn't actually, like, it goes away. That's something that Kundalini yoga taught me. This woman, Sarah Hardy, she teaches it, and I've been going to her for many years. And so the practice of Kundalini, I guess we try and steer away from Kundalini because it has some bad connotations. But when I practice yoga as a movement, like, it is spiritual, and I respect and honor that there's like lineage and it's religion. It's literally a religion. But for me, 80% of it is body and movement. The practice is like these small repetitive movements, and you're doing this for like 6 to 9 minutes. And your shoulders start to hurt, and you got to keep in mind like a mantra. So the mantra can be whatever. She offers up a Sanskrit word, but let's just say the one I like to use is just focus, focus, focus. Because when you're not repeating that word, your mind goes elsewhere. And so every time your mind goes elsewhere, your arms start to come down. So just keeping up with it, knowing in those moments where my arms start to come down, that's okay. I didn't fail. I just bring them back up. And then what I learned from that was, after those 6 to 9 minutes were done, and I would stop, finally, take a big inhale and let it all out, all that pain would go away. And I started to realize, holy moly, like, a lot of this pain is in my head. And I'm making it worse by not breathing. I'm making it worse by focusing on it too hard. That's another thing, like, is like when I'm when I'm sad or I'm mad, I talk about things a lot, and I keep propelling a story. And the story gets bigger and bigger, versus when I like mentally put it away into a box. And that box on the inside of it, it's soft. I'm not like shoving it into a dark, terrible hole, but like a nice, cozy box. And I'll get there. I'll get to it later. But unless something's urgent or on fire, it doesn't need attention right away. Sometimes I realized that when you're addressing things instantly, it's because okay, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to speak for myself and say, when I'm addressing things instantly, it's because I'm being impulsive in that moment. And being impulsive and reactive wasn't serving me anymore. It was a hard girl front. And I realized how tired I was. It wasn't working for me operating that way. So finding my softness and finding my sadness. And by doing that, finding like a little bit of enlightenment too.
There's so much to your journey that unfolds, and it gets like deeper and deeper, and there's so many layers. If you were to give advice to your younger self, say like 18, what would you tell her?
This is a very good question. I think that the main message I would want to share with my younger self is, don't listen to people. Let's learn how to listen to yourself and remove the voices in your head that aren't yours. Because a lot of the voices that you hear can be like your mother's or your friends, or like, a teacher that wasn't like nice to you when you were younger. So learning the voice in your head, which one is yours, and listening to it, and not being scared of the creativity within you. Because the thing about me that everyone always says is, Donia, when you love something, you do a really good job with it. And I love seeing my passion turn into magic. So believe in yourself and don't be scared to pursue the things that like make your heart happy, because magic unfolds when you do.
If people are liking how this conversation is going, they want to continue the conversation with you and get to know you, how can people find you?
Oh my God, I love when people like just reach out on Instagram. The Crossfade page is Crossfade 519 if anyone's interested. And we're also on Facebook, but my Instagram for now is gravity and period gratitude, because I like handstands and because I'm grateful for the human experience. And I find myself in those moments where I'm like reeling or retrospecting. I remind myself to say, I'm grateful for this human experience. And you know, hopefully they'll see me at one of your events.
Yeah, I think that's everything.
Cool.
Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for documenting and witnessing others and giving them and me specifically a moment to feel seen and heard.
I'll receive that. Thank you.
Take it.